Hi everyone, it's Leigh with Arts Council OKC Creative Aging Program. Today we're going to do polymer clay whimsical faces. So the materials you're going to need are polymer clay, a pencil, a small wooden dowel that's optional, and a toaster oven or a kitchen oven if you want to fire them. So today we haven't really done a lot of faces, so we're just going to experiment with making funny, whimsical faces just so that you can kind of get a little bit more comfortable with doing faces in polymer clay. All right, so you want to take your ball of clay and make sure it's nice and warm. Okay. All right, I'm getting my sleeves pulled up. Not that the clay's gonna matter. I was trying to leave these here so you guys could see them, and hopefully, you know, I might just move these over here so you can still see them, but then I have room here. Okay. Right on. So today, like I said, we're just going to have some fun and do some whimsical, weird faces, because I'm all about that. And this is just to kind of get you comfortable with doing some three-dimensional faces in clay. And there's, you know, a lot of different ways of doing this, and we're just going to kind of try a few different ways. Okay, so like I said, warm up your clay, and all right, and then pull some apart and decide if you want to do, you know, a round face or an elongated face, so you can kind of just get your clay. And I have these faces sitting on the black so that you can see them better, but anyway, so you can kind of have a circular face to start with. And now we can do some where we start, you know, putting where you think you want the eyes, and kind of stretch things and push things. Okay, and then you can do, like, this is kind of just like a little noodle. I'm just going to press it and see how I'm kind of squeezing it and making it kind of like a triangular shape. This is going to be the nose. Okay. And this is really, you know, this is anything goes. We're just going to kind of get the parts in. That's a really big schnoz for this face, and that's all right. We're going to pull this off. Woo. Okay. And I'm gonna get, because you can, let's see. And you know, anything with the clay, it's great because you can pull things off if you don't like the way it's shaped, or you can smash it, squish it, you know, start again. But this is really just kind of a fun exercise just to kind of get more comfortable, like I said. So, all right. And you can do, you know, a mouth where you can just kind of put a piece here and pull a little bit off to kind of get a clown face. And today we're really going to just use your pencil as a tool. So this is a bit kind of extreme, you know, mouth, but that's all right. We're just wanting to get some basic information in here. And you know, where you put your fingers for the eyes, you can, you know, use your pencil eraser and just kind of get some placement for it in there. And then I'm just gonna drop some little round balls, boop, like that for the eye. And then I'm gonna, you know, roll out little pieces that you can do for the eyelid, and you just kind of squeeze it in your fingers and flatten it out. And you can put it in. Now what I'm kind of doing is just kind of getting in all the elements quickly, because you're going to be finessing it to really kind of get it the way you want it. But I just wanted to kind of show you some fun, different ways of doing it. And like I said, these are like whimsical faces. So we're just kind of experiencing something different. And now, you know, so where it's a lot more experimental and really loose. So for those of you who really like precise things, we're letting go. You know me, I like to challenge you. So, and then another thing we can do, oh, I pulled it from the wrong thing, so it's fine. Tickle balls, we're gonna do some for the cheeks. And now I'm gonna do a little bit for under the eye. Or maybe not. You know, you don't have, this is not about realism. This is, you know, this guy has a, you know, a weird mustache and his tongue is hanging out. So, you know, and I just use the pencil for his eyebrows, and he is definitely a character for sure. And then this one, you know, oops, I had fun with, just is a little different. And the way you move your clay, you know, you can create different expressions, you know. So this one's got a little quirky face, which I like. And he's quirky in himself too, so, okay. And this one right now, just kind of plain Jane. So, and then, like I said, we're gonna just kind of finesse. So this, we're gonna kind of give him a little bit of an eyebrow ridge. And we're gonna just use your pencil and just kind of blend stuff. Oops, don't do that. Blend stuff in. Use your finger. And this one is kind of a clown nose, totally fine. Just kind of get your stuff kind of smoothed in and pushed down so that you know it's not going to fall off later. And then also be aware of how you're doing things so that when you're doing it, it is creating the face you want. So if you want one eyelid to be lower than the other, then be aware that like when you're smoothing it down, like I'm pulling the eyebrow, not the eyelid back. Okay, so if you don't want that, then push it the other way. And then you can also add some more down here for his chin. And then we'll smooth some in. And then, you know, for your, and I'm just kind of rolling this just to kind of smooth the edges, because sometimes the polymer clay, you know, the more you work with it, the warmer it gets, and it gets really, can get really sticky. So, and then I've got a little dowel here, and or you can use, like, this is actually a skewer, you know, like a meat skewer for kebabs or whatever. So I'm just using the flat end to kind of push in the eye here. And then I'm using this for the little bitty dot in there. And he looks a little kind of angry or strange. They're gonna look weird for a while. So this one, he's kind of, I did kind of an extreme look because I wanted to just show you how to kind of get stuff in here. But then what we can do is kind of come down here for the mouth. And if you want, you can take a dowel and push in here for the nostril. And then you can kind of come in here and wiggle it out so it kind of shapes the edges. So, and then just really kind of have fun, because if you haven't done this much before, you're not going to really know how all of this works until you really get in and start experimenting. And then right now, because it kind of comes up here, it kind of makes him look a little stern or angry. or suspicious or whatever. So, and then we can just kind of come in and just experiment just by softening things or changing the look, like pushing it down. And if you want the lower lip to kind of, we're gonna roll it this way and kind of blend this in. Like I said, this is not about realism. This is just kind of about having fun and just kind of putting parts of the face in here. So, and you can come in and pinch things and change the way and like move it. And if you want him to have a cleft in his chin, you can use your pencil. That's a bit very extreme cleft, but that's all right. You can come back and soften that if you want. That's a really very deep cleft, but that's okay. We can put a little chin ridge here. Okay. Okay, and then if you want, you can have like nice eyebrows or anything. And he, you know, he's really pretty simple. So he's kind of fun and, you know, and strange looking. And so really kind of experiment when you're first doing these to see what the faces are looking like, you know, because these are all very different. And that's good. So the main thing is just to have fun and feel free to change it. Because you can come in here and say, oh, you know, I'd like to have his mouth be open. And so if, you know, and you can kind of come in here with the pencil and kind of press a little. And just kind of get to see if that's where you're kind of wanting it. And then we're just gonna kind of pull it down and wiggle it around. Okay. So see, that changes his look. Now, granted, I put a big hole in there. Poked it because my pencil is kind of sharp. So you kind of want to make sure it's a little blunted, but now it looks kind of like he's going, hey. And then if you want, let's see if we can put in some little teeth, okay? And we can change it too to where he wants to have his mouth open a little bit more. Like what? And since we're going to put some teeth in here, we can smooth some of this down back here, even though the back of your mouth is dark, but looks like he's saying, hey, what's up? So really just have fun with it because it's great. You can change their expression and you can put hair if you want. I just thought it would be kind of easier and a little less daunting if we just started with a face. So, and what I want to do is just take this and kind of flatten it out. Oop, and that's too big, so I'm going to pull some of it off. And now you could do this individually if you want him to have just, say he's got a, well, that's like a big tooth, so let's not do that. The great thing is you can do whatever you want. And like, I'm a fan of doing silly things like having people's tongues hanging out. You can do that, but you know, I know a lot of you are probably shaking your head and go, oh, Leigh. So this is a way you can do some teeth. You just kind of flatten your clay out just a little bit, and you can kind of lightly press it. And you can just kind of see what that would look like in there. And that looks a little, looks a little silly. But that's all right. Then you can kind of come in and reshape your teeth a little. And smooth it out. And you might think, oh, I don't really like the way that looks, but it's kind of funny, like a little snaggletooth something. So. And this is just, you know, about a learning experience. And, you know, when you're making things for the first time, you don't have to feel like you don't have to fire it if you don't like it, because, you know, you don't want to waste clay on something you don't really like, but really just kind of have fun. He's starting to look kind of creepy. You know, the whole point, I think it's his teeth. So if you go, oh, well, I like him except I don't like his teeth, just go in and take them out. And just make sure you can get them out enough so that, and then just wipe your pencil lid off. Because these are, you know, fantastical faces, so that he doesn't have to have teeth. He can just have a happy face. And so I'm just bringing his mouth back up there. And maybe he needs some eyebrows to give him some personality. And then just remember how you shape them. Like if we do something like this, he's kind of like, But if you do one like this, he's like, kind of mad. So, and also an option is you can come in here and use your fingers and pinch it, but I just kind of sunk his eyes back. So then what you can do is push and pull and change his face in that way. So I just gave him a pointy head. But that's all right. So you just experiment with how the clay works and how it changes the face. He's like, whoa! See, now he's surprised. As you can tell, I really enjoy making faces in clay because it's really kind of fun. All right. And you can make these into magnets if you want. And, you know, an option to finish them if you don't want to keep them white. If you get a face that you really love, you can gesso once you bake it. And now remember, while I'm talking about baking it, in order to bake them, you can use your toaster oven or traditional, you know, kitchen oven. Set at 275. Since these are a little bit thicker, I do them for 12 minutes at 275, and you can put them on a cookie sheet and that'll do the trick. Now, if it's in a toaster oven, they have the little trays. So anyway, let's see. You wanna try another one here? So I'm sure some of you guys are going to come up with some really great ones, but these are just kind of fun. And you can go in and if you want, you can even draw in elements. But I think in this case, what I would like more is if I just put some eyebrows on there. His eyes seem a little stark, like he seems a little bug-eyed to me. So then what I want to do is if I want to keep working on him, since I kind of smoothed everything out up here, what I'll do is I will add a little more on top here. Kind of add some eyelids again on top. And then if you want, we can always add some underneath. So you get the idea, and he's, you know, kind of more of a 3-dimension, you know, really 3D. So we can do one that's a little flatter. So just kind of get your face shape in here. We're gonna do a little more oblong one. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of get a few little things ready. So if I want some eyes here, and then, you know, you can do circles for cheeks, and we can kind of flatten those out too. But I just like breaking off little pieces that I can kind of get ready. And then here again, you know, for the nose, we can just do I'm just kind of squeezing it for the bridge of the nose, and then kind of if I want it, and then you can look and say, oh, well, that's about okay, or if you want it to be longer or shorter, and then I want to kind of do this and that. Then another way too is if you can have just a really, you know, long straight nose, totally fine, or if you want to have some really rounded nostrils, you can do stuff like that. That's really kind of fun and silly. It just depends on what you're looking for. If you're trying to be a little, you know, be a little more simplified, then we can do something more like this. And then you can just start blending things in, and we can do placement of, if you want to, you can use your pencil for different kinds of shapes for the eyes, or that's something a little different. There's a bubble under there, and that's fine. You can kind of come in. This looks more like a mask, and that's fine too. So the main thing is just experiment and have fun, because, you know, and it takes a minute, but we're all just doing, you know, using your pencil or a dowel and your fingers. I always come back and do heavy brow ridge. Let's see, I'm just going to come in here. I'm just doing this one really kind of fast to give you an idea. So you can also just do really stylized and flat cheek. Flat cheek. We can just do a simple line in here. And you can also draw with this, with your pencil, or he can be kind of grumpy looking or not. Or you can even do this really simple. We can take this off and just do a simple circle. Whoop. You could you could flatten this out, and we could do just a kind of an oval. Whoop. And you can come in with a eraser, and he's like, what? And you can press more. So he's either whistling or something. So, yeah. So now that they're on the black, it's a little bit easier to see. So, and you can add dots, or he looked kind of angry, like he's yelling at somebody, but that's okay. But you're gonna finesse this more and smooth things down, but whew. And you know, you just want to make sure everything is nicely attached. Okay. And just take your time in smoothing things, and And just, you can roll. And if you think that's too flat up there, you could add more clay and bring it out more. And if you think, oh, I don't like the placement of the cheeks, then move them down lower. And if you want to be darker and inside the mouth, then press it down a little more, give it more texture. And that's the other thing, if you want to do some texture, once you've got your face the way you want, you can use the tip of the pencil, as you all know this already, but just, you can add some, looks like you might have the measles. Just kidding. So just have fun with it. And anything goes, just experiment. All right, so I look forward to seeing your wild, whimsical faces. So take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.